So students, let's move on to the next set of questions. Okay. We have seen one set earlier in the previous video. So differentiate between prime and composite numbers. You just have to know this because let's say match the following or something. If you're being asked, you should know this. You should have a knowledge of prime and composite numbers. So prime numbers have only two factors, that is 1 and itself. For example, you take the number 2. 2 is 2 into 1. So the number 1 and itself, it has only two factors and nothing else. Look at 3. 3 is 3 into 1. It has 1 and itself, right? So only two factors. But look at 4. 4 is 2 into 2. 4 is also equal to 1 into 4. So it has 1 as a factor. It has itself. 4 itself is a factor of 4. And apart from this, it has one additional factor, which is 2. So numbers which have only two factors, 1 and itself, right? That number is called as a prime number. So with our definition here, 2 is a prime number and 3 is a prime number. And 4, since it has 1 itself and one additional factor apart from 1 and itself, it is called composite number. That's how we define prime and composite. You will not be asked the definition, but you should know, given a set of numbers, which of them are prime and which of them are composite. So given any even number, remember, they are always composite. The only even number and the which is prime is 2, and it's the only even prime and also the smallest prime. The only even prime, and also it happens to be the smallest prime number. All the other numbers, if they are primes, they would be odd. So if you have an even number, be assured it's going to be composite unless it's 2. If it's odd number, you have to apply the divisibility check and understand. And remember, 1 for that matter, it is neither prime nor composite. It doesn't fall into the bracket. So neither prime nor composite. So you can't consider 1 as a prime number. Moving on, find the polygon having 35 diagonals. So if you have a polygon of n sides, the number of diagonals I told you is given by n into n minus 3 by 2. As per our question here, n into n minus 3 is 35. Cross multiply, you get n into n minus 3 is 70. Okay, so now you need to factorize 70 so that the two factors differ by 3. So 10 into 7 is 70. Let's check. 10 into, I can write 7 as 10 minus 3. Into n minus 3. And therefore your n is 10. It's a decagon. It's a decagon. 35 diagonals. So this is how you will have to go about solving questions where the diagonal is given, number of diagonals are given, and you need to calculate the number of sides. To find the smallest possible interior value or interior angle for a regular polygon. Here, see, it's like this logic. You have the numerator fixed. So smallest possible integer, right? Interior angle for E is equal to 360. N is of course an integer. N is a natural number, 360 by n. So interior angle for a regular polygon. So 360 is fixed. You want this. You want E to be large. Why E should be large? Because I should be small. I is small. So if you want a small I, because they sum up to 180. Simple logic. E plus I will give you 180. So E is 360 by n. So if E is large, when you get large 3, when the n is small, the smallest possible polygon is 3-sided polygon, which is triangle. You can't have 1 or 2-sided. The smallest possible sides is the smallest basic polygon, I would say, is a triangle. So n is 3. So E is 360 by 3, which is 120. So when E is 120, the I would be 180 minus 120, which is 60. The number 1, is it prime or composite? We just discussed this a little while ago, I think just two questions back. Yeah. So 1 is neither prime nor composite. Be very careful here. It's neither prime nor composite. And what is 1 also called? It is called as the multiplicative identity, because 1 acts like a mirror when it comes to multiplication. Any number multiplied by 1 will give you the number itself. It behaves like a mirror. The number 0, does it have a reciprocal? No. I told you in maths, division by 0 is not defined. Division by 0 is not defined. Okay. And yeah, anything divided by 0 is not defined. It is called dash identity. It is called as the additive identity, because when it comes to addition, 0 acts like a mirror. 7 plus 0 is 7. 0 plus 7 is 7. 0 plus 13 is 13. You get back the number. So 0 acts like a mirror, or the additive identity when it comes to addition. Additive identity. Name the polygon that are 0 angles. Very simple. It is a triangle. You don't have to calculate. Then the next one is quadrilateral, next basic polygon, but it has 2 diagonals. So the smallest possible is 0 in this case. What is the measure of each angle in an equilateral triangle? An equilateral triangle is also called as equiangular triangle. Each angle is 60 degrees. All the sides are equal and all the angles are also equal. So it is 60 degrees each. Equilateral triangle is a regular polygon of 3 sides. Now name the quadrilateral whose diagonals are equal and opposite sides are equal. This is interesting. So diagonals are equal in 2 things, rectangle and square. Now to narrow it down further, opposite sides are equal, not all sides. If I said all sides are equal, it is square. I should actually mention it as only opposite sides are equal, which would be a rectangle. Name some of the exterior angles of any polygon. Pretty simple. It is 360. Be it any polygon, triangle, quadrilateral, pentagon, hexagon, heptagon, onagon, whichever it is. When you add up all the exterior angles, you're going to get 360. Yeah, so you can see that. And find the, this is interesting. Find 80% of 50 and 50% of 80. So percentage, 80 by 100 off means into 51s are, 52s are, 80 by 2, which is 40. That is 80% of 50 we have done. What is 50% of 80? 50% is technically, I told you, in the language of fractions, it is half. So 50 by 100 into 80. 51s are, 52s are, 80 by 2, which is 40. Okay, so they are the same. I told you, I think I gave you a formula, if you can recall. A percentage of B is equal to B percentage of A. Next, express 25% as a fraction. 25 by 100. So that would be 25 ones are, 25 fours are. So you should know the factors of 100. So 25% as a fraction is 1/4. As a decimal, where is your hypothetical point? It's here. So since you're dividing by 100, 2 zeros, it has to jump by 2. It becomes 0.25. Square root of 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube. Now there's a formula for this. See, let me just go back. 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube can be written as 1 plus 2 plus 3 the whole cube, the whole square. Note the difference here. So square root of 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube is square root of 1 plus 2 plus 3 the whole square. Root and square will nullify. It is 1 plus 2 plus 3, which is 6. Otherwise, let's say you're not familiar with this, go with the traditional long method. 1 cube is 1, 2 cube is 8, and 3 cube is 27. So 27 plus 1, 28 plus 8 is 36. What is the square root of 36? It is 6. In case you get a match the following question or an MCQ, be careful of this. Okay, there's a formula for that. A cube plus B cube plus, you don't go with this, go with 1. 1 cube plus 2 cube plus 3 cube is 1 plus 2 plus 3 the whole cube. You have to start the count from 1. 91 has its factors. So 91, obviously 1 is a factor of every number and the number itself. And if you look at the nature of 91, if you apply test of divisibility, it will not go by 2. So it will not go by 3 also. 9 plus 1 is 10. It will not go by 6. It will not go by 5. It will not go by 4. It will not go by, let's check 7. 91. To check for 7, you'll double the ones digit, isn't it? 1, when you double it, you get 2. So 9 minus 2 is 7. So the number 91 will go by 7. And 7, it will also go by 13. 13 sevens are 91, if you recall your 13 tables. So this is like, when you look at 91, it's something like, you will feel like, okay, maybe it will not go. It looks so much like a prime. But remember, it has 2 factors, 7 and 13. Because it has 2 prime factors, it's difficult to get the number unless you're very familiar with the test of divisibility by 7. Moving on, the point where the x and the y-axis meet. Of course, I mentioned this when we did the graphs. X-axis is usually used for independent variables. The y-axis for the dependent variables. So x-axis is your horizontal axis. Y-axis is the vertical axis. And they do meet at a point called as the origin. Technically, it's like 2 number lines. Now, division by when you divide something by 0, it will result in? No. I mentioned this earlier. Division by 0 is 1? No. Depends on the numerator? No. It is not defined. Whatever, let anything come in the numerator. If you have 0 in the denominator, the answer is not defined. So you need to be careful about it. Next, for a fixed distance, when speed increases, so this is common sense. You have your home and you have your school here. So from home to school, the distance is fixed, obviously. So when speed is more, it takes less time. And when speed is less, it takes more time. I told you, you sink, I sail, I sink, you sail. This is a case of inverse variation or indirect variation. Okay, not direct. Next, and that is one increasing and the other is decreasing. Length of a fence and time taken to paint the fence, direct or indirect. So length of a fence and time taken to paint the, okay, this is from an extract from a book that I had. So I mentioned the character's name here. So he's told by his aunt to, like an imposition, to paint the fence. So coming back to maths, length of a fence and the time taken to paint the fence by Tom Sawyer. See, to paint, let's say 100 meters of the fence, it's going to take some, let's say, 2 hours. Okay. Then if you have to paint, let's say 200 meters, it's obviously going to take more time, isn't it? If you look at the proportional value, 200 meters, it's going to take 4 hours, right? That is, the length is, I mean, as the length increases, the time taken also increases. Assuming that there's only one person, Tom Sawyer, who is painting the fence. So you should be very careful here. You're not talking of the length of the fence fixed. It's not like distance is fixed, time increases, speed decreases. Not that case here. Here you're increasing the length, and obviously, if there's only one person out there, he'll have to take a longer time to paint the fence. Okay. So here it is distance and time. Work and time here. We are not talking of work and we are not talking of work and labor force. That will be inverse. More people, time taken is less. Less people, more. Here, the length of the fence, length becomes more. The time taken to paint also becomes more. So it is direct. So that you need to judge depending on the case, and then you should apply the property. Okay, let's go on to set 3. I'll do a part of it here, and the rest I can send later. The ratio between an exterior angle and an interior angle of a regular polygon is 1:4. Find, so the measure of each exterior angle, and the number of sides. So exterior angle, let it be equal to, let's say, 1x. So interior angle will be equal to 4x because they are in the ratio 1:4. So I know that E plus I will give me 180. They form a linear pair, isn't it? Interior and exterior. So 1x plus 4x is equal to 5x, which is equal to 180. So you get x is equal to 180 by 5. 18 into 10 by 5, let's do it, which is 36. This is the x value. Okay. So what will be I? What will be E? 1x, which is 1 into 36, 36 degrees. And I will be 5 into not 5, sorry, 4 into 36, 4, no? 4 into 36, which is 144. 36 to the 72, 2 is 144 degrees. So interior angle, so measure of each exterior angle 36 degrees. Measure of each interior angle 144 degrees. Number of sides, since it's a regular polygon, go with the question, okay? If it's not mentioned, we can't use this. Since it's mentioned, it's 360 by E, 360 by 36, which is 10. It's a decanum. So moving on, find the square root of the following numbers by prime factorization and long division method. Okay, so in the interest of time, I'll take this up in the next video. I'll stop it because I have to solve all of them together. Remember, you can be asked prime factorization method or long division or both for a given number, but you should know both. You should know both the techniques. Okay, some cases you will feel long division is better. Some cases you will feel prime factorization. If you know the tables well, you know your prime factorization is better. Whatever it is, you need to know both of it. So I'll just pause on this and I'll get back to you in the next link.